Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi guys, here I like to present my presentation about mobile phone. Uh, Before I present my presentation, let me introduce myself. My name is Abdullah. You can call me anything what you want. And then I'm from 8th class from junior high school. Here I will give you four material in my presentation. First is what is mobile phone. Second is the history of mobile phone. The third is the function of mobile phone. And the last is the damage of mobile phone. Okay, let's go to the first material. The first material is the definition about mobile phone. What is mobile phone? Mobile phone is a wireless hardware device that allows user to make and receive calls and to send text message. Among other features, the earliest generation of mobile phones could only make and receive calls. Today's mobile phones, however, are packed with many additional features, such as web browser, games, camera, video player, and even navigational system. A mobile phone may also be known as a cellular phone or simply cell phone. When the first mobile phones were introduced, their only function was to make and receive calls, and they were so bulky it was impossible to carry them in a pocket. Later, mobile phones belonging to the global system of mobile communication, or people can say it's GSM. Network became capable of sending and receiving text message as the device evolved. They become smaller and more featured were added, such as multimedia messaging service, or we can say is MMS, which allow user to send and receive image. Most of the MMS capable device were also equipped with camera, which allow user to capture photo and added a caption and send them to friends and relatives who also had MMS capable phones. A mobile phone with advanced features similar to a computer is called a smartphone, while a regular mobile phone is known as a feature phone. A mobile phone typically operates on a cellular network, which is composed cell sites, scattered throughout cities, countrysides, and even mountainous regions. If a user happens to be located in an area where there is no signal from any cell site belonging to the cellular network provider he or she is subscribed to, calls cannot be placed or received in that location. Okay, the next material is the history of mobile phone. Cell phones were originally created so people could take wheel they drove. Initially called car phones, early cell phones were bulky, cumbersome, and expensive compared to today's modern device. Today, we're covering the history of cell phone and explaining where the future of cell phone could be. For a look at the evolution, the word for cell phone. The word for cell phone was launched in 1983. It was the Motorola Dyna TAZ 8000X. It was priced at around $4,000 US dollar and last for 30 minutes of talk time before dying. It was also about the size of foot long stop from Subway. Despite the phone's large size, it was still considered to be the most portable telephone ever made. For the first time in history, a human being could call someone without the constraints of wireless or portable phone holder. Prior to release of the Motorola Dyna TAZ X1000X, several major developments had paved the way for the first cell phone. In 1900 NH, for example, one man claimed to have invented a wireless telephone. That man was considered to so crazy for his time that he was a cause of fraud. The charges were later dropped. And then the radio-based telephone. Later, during the First World War, the German military tested wireless phone on military trains running between Berlin and Zossen. Later, in 1924, wireless phones were tests on trains running between Berlin and Hamburg. During the World War, military forces around the world made use of radio telephony links starting in 1940. Handheld radio receivers had been widely available, opening up communication in battlefields around the world. All of this technology inspired researchers at Bell Labs to create a mobile phone system for VIII. The system would allow users to price and decide calls from inside their automobile. By June 1946, Bell Labs had begun to offer mobile cell phones service on physical and as always, Missouri a few weeks later, AT&T matched Bell Labs offering something called a mobile telephone service, which was a wide range of mostly incompatible mobile telephone service that offered limited coverage area and small number of available channels. Eventually, AT&T and Bell Labs will introduce cellular technology which allows users the reuse of frequency multiple times in area covered by low-power transmitter. This allowed mobile phones to be more than just a pipe dream. They were an economically feasible product that could make money for Bell and AT&T. America's short-lived experiment did not lead to the widespread use of mobile phones. It was a nice product that appealed only to a small number of consumers in one city. Nevertheless, the seeds of mobile telephony had been planted in the mind of Americans. And then the Russia first cell phone. Surprisingly, the USSR was the next major nation to develop mobile phone. Between 1957 and 1961, Soviet inventor Leonid Kaprianovich developed a number of mobile phones that look surprisingly similar to modern mobile devices. One of Leonid's phones weighed just 70 grams and could easily fit into the palm of your hand. The Soviet Union decided to push forward with plans to develop these mobile phones. They called the phone the LTA and designed it for use in car. AT&T mobile telephone service. In 1949, AT&T launched something called mobile telephone service. We mentioned this service above as part of the automobile cell phone station. This mobile telephone service was initially only available in St. Louis by 1948. However, the service was available in about 100 towns. With this service, an estimated 5,000 customers passed approximately 300 calls each week. Each call had to be manually connected by an operator. The system also functioned similar to walkie-talkie. You had to push down a button in your headset to talk, then release that button to listen. If you want the mobile telephone service in your physical, then you have to install about 39 kilograms of equipment. Other limitations of the system were: first, only the radio channels were available, which means only 3 customers in any city could make a call at one time. The second is it was expensive, costing approximately about 15 US dollar per month plus an additional uh, 0.30 US dollar to 0.40 US dollar per local call. It's today's dollar. That's nearly 200 US dollar per month and $4 US dollar to 4.50 US dollar per local call. It's a very expensive. And then the next is Manchester UAK and the Post Office Radio Phone Service. A similar service evolved in the UK soon after AT&T's mobile telephone service. That system was called the Post Office Radio Phone Service, and it was launched in Manchester in 1959. The system also required callers to connect to an operator. However, this operator could connect users to any subscriber across all of Great Britain. London received Post Office Radio Phone Service in 1995, and it branched out to other major cities across the UK in 1972. Then next is AT&T launched again its new improved mobile telephone service, or we can say IMTS. The original mobile telephone service, or MTS, offered by AT&T was soon supplanted by improved mobile telephone service, or yeah, we can say it's IMTS. AT&T heard the complaints of its customer and so to address them, they added more radio channel, for example, which mean more simultaneous calls could be placed in each geographic area. The system also featured improved customer dialing. Customer no longer had to call the operator to set up each call. The subscriber equipment also no longer the weight is 39 kilogram. Nevertheless, IMTS was still a far cry from modern cell phone system. Demand quickly outstripped the capacity of the system. There were many reports of customers waiting 30 minutes or more to place a call. It's so very long. It got to the point where state government were forced to restrict service to just 4,000 40,000 customers across the entire system. Still in large cities like New York City, 2,000 subscribers were forced to share 12 radio channels, which is what led to the long wait times. Okay, the next is radio common carrier. In an effort to compete with AT&T, independent American telephone companies introduced something called radio common carrier, or RCC. The system used frequencies near the IMTS frequencies. The system persisted until the 1980s, at which point Sylvester AMPS system made RCC equipment obsolete. This loosely organized system discourages roaming and come with a complicated building system and complicated, expensive set of equipment. It provided the next best alternative to AT&T's mobile telephone service, but that was about it. Okay, the next is European mobile radio network. Europe, like America, developed its own series of mobile radio network. The most noteworthy network could be found in West Germany, which initially launched the A-Net network in 1952, and then the B-Net network in 1972. Norway also had its own system called OLT, where operator manually connects calls to on one another. Up to this point, all of this network relied to radio technology instead of genuine cellular technology. Throughout the latter half of the 20th century, however, researchers will work on creating cellular network that expanded cell surface across America. The next is the first cellular network. In 1947, Bell Labs engineers were already looking for ways to implement cell service in physical. These researchers theorized that hexagonal calls would work best for physical. However, it wasn't until the 1960s that researchers created the technology system like frequency research and handoff that would lead to modern cellular network. In 1973, the first mobile telephone call is made. In 1973, 10 years before a cell phone was first released on the market, the first cell phone call was by Motorola researchers and executive Martin Cooper. Cooper, for Motorola, placed a call to Dr. Joe Angel of Bell Labs. The call on which the phone was made was an early prototype of the Dynasty Z mobile phone. It weighed 1.1 kilogram and was 23 centimeters long. It's so very small. And however, the stage was set. Researchers knew that if they could create wireless communication technology that was smaller, there would be a market for it. The first network is 1G cellular network. 1G refers to the first automated analog cellular network around the world. 1G was first deployed in Tokyo in 1979 and would spread throughout the rest of Japan in 1981. Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Denmark also received 1G the same year. It took 2 more years before 1G technology was first introduced in America. In North America, the first 1G network was called the Advanced Mobile Phone System, or AMPS. This network suffered from some major security issue. The network was encrypted, for example, and easily for enable to at first dropping using a basic scammer. This didn't prevent the world's first cell phone, then a TSE mobile phone, from launching on the 1G network on March 6, 1983. People didn't care about security at this point. They just thought it was a really cool. They called on the mobile phone and telephone across the nation. Uh, Actually, we must to care about the privacy because this is a life. Okay, next is the Motorola Dyna TSE. Released on March 6, 1983, the Dyna TSE mobile phone was priced at a whooping. It's super expensive, 3,995 US dollar when it hit the market. The phone could last for about 30 minutes of talk time. Motorola spent 100 US dollar million and never 10 years developing the device. Despite the high price tag, poor battery life, heavy weight, and all its other flaws, at least compared to modern device, the Dyna TSE mobile phone was quickly successful, winning its number in the thousands. By 1990, the old MPS network were replaced by digital EMPS, or you can say the EMPS. By 2008, all EMPS service was shut down across North America, marking the end of an era. Then next is the second generation in network is 2G cellular network. 2G cellular network started to emerge in the 1990s along with the second generation of mobile device. This is where European and American networks start to split apart and compete against one another. In Europe, the Europe developed GSM standard ranked supreme in the United States. American carrier favored CDMA. But if their system is digital transmission technologies instead of analog, this came with advantages like better security and faster networking. 2G also allowed for basic SMS communication. The world's first SMS text message was sent in Finland in 1993. He is launched. Okay. Next is in 1993, IBM Simon, the first smartphone. The first smartphone was probably released earlier than you expect. Many call in 1993, IBM Simon the world's first smartphone. Compared to today's standard, the world's first smartphone looked pretty stupid. It was a silent calendar, address book, clock, notepad, PDR, email service, QWERTY keyboard, and touchscreen all rolled into one. It also featured a stylus and predictive typing. It even had apes. The phone sold moderately well across the United States, selling 50,000 units between August 1994 and until February 1995. It's very fast. He can sell it about 50,000 units. The Siemens personal communicator, as it was known, so chartered bells, 50 state service area at price of 899 US dollar on a 2 years contract, or we can choose the more height is 1099 US dollar wider the contract. Okay, the next is the third generation of a network is a 3D cellular network. 2D introduced cell phone networks to people around the world. Suddenly, everyone needed a mobile phone in their daily lives. Before long, the mindset outstripped existing 2G technology. People want to do more than just call. They want to browse the internet and faster speed. It became clear that 2G technology was not able to keep up. Thus, 3G started to roll out around the world. Once again, the world's first 3G network was launched in Tokyo. Tokyo received the technology in May 2001. The main advantage of moving from 2G to 3G was that 3G used packet switching instead of circuit switching to transmit data. This allowed for faster data transmission speed. until 2 MB per second data rates, for example. This opened the door for media streaming over mobile network. For the first time, mobile devices were fast enough to support online video and music streaming. And if now is a YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Jules, and many more, it's now we can use it cause now is a 4G cellular network. But this is in 3D cellular network. We have came to use it. By 2007, there were 295 million 3D users. Oh my gosh, it's so very many around the world. They might seem impressive, but that number accounts for only 9% of the total worldwide number of mobile users. Because the 295 is so very many, but just 9% of the total worldwide. Okay, the next is 4G and the introduction of native IP network. Before the end of the first decade of the 20th century, it was clear that 3G was being overwhelmed by the number of bandwidth-intensive applications. Carriers realized that it was time to bump up to 4G. For this main improvement over 3G technology was its data optimization, which promised to overspeed up to 10 times faster than existing 3G technology. Two different 4G technology were developed, including the VMX standard and the more popular LTE standard. Okay, next is notable cell phone really started out the last 3 decades. In addition to the early phone, we mentioned above like the Dyna TSZ 8000X and IBM Simon. Here are some of the notable phones released between 1990 and present day. First is Nokia 6110. It's launched in 1997. Rumor has this phone could survive a nuclear explosion. You could throw this phone off buildings, drop it on the floor, and nothing seemed to pass it. It also had a whooping 3 games, including the ever popular Memory, Snack, and Logic. Oh, and did I mention it worked as pager and come in 4 different colors? Yeah, this phone was a big deal. The next is Motorola Star TZ. It's launched in 1997. The most notable part of this phone was that it was the world's first clamshell phone, also known as the flip phone. The phone inspired by the communicator for Star Trek. The Motorola Star TZ was designed for 2G network. The next is BlackBerry S150. It's launched in 1999 based on the name. You might think the BlackBerry 850 was the 8 or even the 850th upon release by RIM, but it wasn't. It was the very first BlackBerry. 3 years later, RIM, now named BlackBerry, was a title the fastest growing company on the planet. We don't have to talk about what happened after 210. Sorry, BlackBerry fans. Samsung SGH T100. It's launched in 2000 years. Samsung early phones look nothing like the modern day Galaxy lineup. They look like French commercial phones, but they already showed early things of Samsung future. Smartphone dominance like a bright, vibrant screen. The Samsung SGH T100 was the first phone that ever used a thin film transistor active matrix LCD screen. The Samsung is first LCD screen. Next is BlackBerry again. BlackBerry 5810. It's launched in 2003. Like the original BlackBerry 850, the BlackBerry 5810 had a QWERTY keyboard. This keyboard, however, took closer to what we would find in later BlackBerry devices. Other notable features include email support and apps for printing, calendar, music, alarm, and much more. Next is Motorola Razr V3. It's launched in 2004. If you held of this in high school, you were the coolest kid in class. The Motorola Razr V3 featured a sleek interior and a satisfying clap. So when it closed up, the Razr would eventually become one of Motorola's best-selling phones ever. The company sold 1,030 million units between 2004 until 2006. It's so very fast and so very many, 130 million units just for 2 years or 3 years maybe. Okay, next is BlackBerry. BlackBerry again. BlackBerry 7270. It's launched in 2005. This was the first BlackBerry device that came with Wi-Fi. It's easy to see why the learn Crackberry became so widespread after the release of the BlackBerry 1270. This was also the first BlackBerry to feature a color display. Next is this is maybe the famous company now. It's Apple. Yeah, Apple launched the first smartphone in 2008 is a Apple iPhone 3G. This is the phone that changed the game forever. Do we really need to say anything about the iPhone that you don't already know? The iPhone introduced millions of people to apps, made touchscreen, interface the norm, and had the most attractive design of any mobile realized today. The next is from Samsung. It's Galaxy Nexus 2011. Prior to the Nexus, Android was a little used operating system in development from Google. After the Nexus, Android was a competitor to iOS. It's a Apple have in the mobile operating system world. The Nexus was the first good Android smartphone and was a strong processor to one of the most popular Androids of all time, the Galaxy S3. Okay, the next is Samsung. Again, it's from a Note series. It's the Samsung Galaxy Note. It's launched in 2011 too. The Galaxy Note is on this list because Samsung had the foresight to build a stupidly large smartphone. We all thought it was stupidly right at the time, but a few years later, the Note is have a 5.3-inch screen is on the lower end of largest smartphone displays. Samsung was making tablets before it was cool. We come a long way from the early days of cell phone that weighed 32 kilogram and fit into the trunk of your car. Today, you have a phone within arm's reach that you probably check 5 times while riding this area. Okay. The next material is about the function of mobile phone. Okay. There's many styles and brands of mobile phones. Okay, like I have said before, it's so very many style and many company that launch the smartphone. Another hand device available from simple two-way phones enable phones to extravagant handled the computer that's uh, available from simple to voice enable phones to extravagant. Hand computer also can serve as a phone because of the variety in design and fashion in this device. A comprehensive list of every one of their capabilities might be longer and more extensive and would be practical, but the basic summary of the most common function of mobile phone include voice communication, data, and some other common applications. And then first and traditional phone function. The primary function of a mobile phone is voice communication. This is first things to make as a phone. It's for receive calls to communication. Okay, like traditional landline phones, mobile phones allow one user to call another and talk from afar. Functions related to voice communication include automatic radial, last number recall, caller ID, logging of incoming, and outgoing calls. Speakerphone or hands-free capabilities and speed dialing. Some phones also are equipped with voice-activated dialing and features like a silent mode. I will have a silent mode, and then which disable ringing or indicates incoming calls and alerts by vibration. Many mobile phones also feature the ability to block calls from unwanted number or customize ringtones to send an audible indication of the source of an incoming call. If it's 1G cellular network, it's many people don't care about the privacy. But now we must to protect myself for ourselves for uh, for healthy. Okay, next is damage of mobile phone. Here I will tell you many damage of mobile phone. Is your teen inciting for mobile phone for his birthday, or are you considering of giving a mobile phone to your teen for security purpose, for communication, and many other? That some decide, but have you ever thought about the adverse effects of mobile phone for your teenagers and young people? If not, then please watch me again. Okay, seeing teens standing together but totally ignoring each other is a common sight. This, according to a survey conducted by the Pew Research Center, 78% teens aged between 12 and 70 have a mobile phone, and they are not just using it called this parent or for a privacy purpose. One is 14 have access to the internet. Internet so very many the many browser that can't open to kids or teens. And then furthermore than adult, so is cell phone really a good thing for teens? What are the negative effects of cell phone on teenager? Okay, watch me more. Effect of mobile phone on teenager. There is no doubt that the mobile phone is a very useful tool, and today mobile phones are a major part of society. So what? Now teenager also play Instagram, Facebook, and many social media again, or for playing game, or for a browser. That's so very not good. He always spend the time is for a phone, not for the real life. Okay, next is this communication with college, friends and relatives, but very technology that provide such benefit come with a consequence price. The impact of mobile phone on youth and society is astronomical. Sorry, it is this area that require attention when you are giving your teen a cell phone or smartphone. Here's how smartphone affect teenager. First is teen tendonitis, or another people say is TTT. What is the impact of mobile phones on young people's social life? Teenagers are totally addicted to texting. Texting again. Excess messaging can lead to teen tendonitis or TTT. It can cause pain in the hands, back and neck due to poor posture. It can also lead to impaired vision and even arthritis down the line. The second effect is stress. Having a cell phone will time your teen to spend all day talking or texting instead of doing anything productive. Studies have proven that teens will spend too much of their time with their cell phone, I have said before, are more prone to stress and fatigue. It can also lead to psychological disorder in some cases. The next negative effect is sleep loss. Most of the teens keep their cell phones nearby while sleeping to respond to texts and calls. Maybe if you teens have a boyfriend, he always waiting the text from boyfriend until sleep. They feel pressure to remain reachable around the clock. It leads to sleep interruption and disruption. Teens also become irritable when he are sleep deprived. The next negative effect is accident. Teens are more likely to respond to calls, text while driving. It's so very crazy. You have a driving, please focus. Focus on driving. Don't play your phone or receive a call. And reading than adults, they talk and text on the phone without realizing that it can cost their lives. Even the US government website for dictates and driving has proven that traffic crashes are the leading cause of death in teens. Cause a reading cause while driving. Okay, next is increased anxiety. Relying on texting as primary mode of communication can increase anxiety in teens. Texting is instantly gratifying, but it also produces anxiety. This instant reply by the friends can bring joy and elation, but in case of delayed response or no response, the same pleasure turn into disappointment. The next is risk of cancer. Researchers show that electromagnetic radiation emitted by mobile phones get absorbed in the tissue when we hold the phones for a longer time. This nervous system of teens are still developing and have a greater risk of developing brain cancer from cell phone than adults. The next is cyberbullying. According to a poll conducted by Fight Crime in kids, nearly one third of the teens are victims of cyberbullying, and almost half of the victims don't know the identity of the perpetrator. Okay, the next is the pornography. Pornography is so very bad for teens or for kids. So you must talk again if you want to give your teens a phone. Uh, and then if you the next damage is your teens or kids will be lazy. Why? Because your teens or your kids always playing phone and want to learn, want to study, want to go to school, and then the bad things again is your teens or kids can want uh, to play with their friends. Why? Because he have a smartphone. He can play game in the smartphone, can communication in smartphone, but it's all not good. You must do communication in real life. Okay, here I have a tips. Cell phone safety for teens. Cell phones are not going anywhere, at least not anytime soon. So you need to teach your teens about mobile phone safety and to use it responsibly. You also need to have a great boundaries for mobile phone usage. Here are some ways to avoid negative effect of cell phone on teenager. First, First is negotiate with your teens. What should be the acceptable amount of time and money spent on the cell phone? And the second is tell him or her to curb his or her impulse of replying to the text. The next is turning off the cell phone while driving is the best option. Because the teens always receive the calls when he's while driving. And the next is turning off the cell phones before going off the sleep will help maintain a regular sleep schedule. The next is teach your teen that short to moderate conversation on cell phone can reduce the possibility of cancer. Limit the conversation to not more than 20 minutes a day. Option for a monthly plan that give a structure for how many call minutes and text messages are available. If you are paying the bill, then you can also have access to the mobile phone records, which will help you track how often your teens call and sends message and to what number. Okay, now I will explain you about the damage of pornography. Pornography is thusly not only to marriage and to our work with Chris, but to the brains as well. Consider what science is now telling us. Until recently, the research on how porn impacts the body and brain have been correlative. That is, from a scientific perspective, study did not show that porn used directly caused this problem, although common sense taught us otherwise. The correlative evidence, however, is quite damning it itself. The problem has been that researchers have had trouble finding college students the most chosen group for genuine pitch in research who have not used porn. And even if they did, it's questionable the issues of introducing someone to porn. So please keep your teens or kids before teen or your kids hit porn or know about porn, about the situs, and many more. However, new research is now showing clear causal relationship of porn used to damage to the brain. In fact, the variable use or non-use of porn is now becoming more available at a large number. Uh, uh, Over 75,000 of former porn addicts have formed an online community called Nofec. To surface, they are posting how their lives have changed for the better after getting off porn. Also, a recent German study has shown a clear causal connection between even moderate porn use and damage to the brain. Here is what research now indicates that porn does to our brains and bodies. First, it becomes addictive. Our simulation of the brain system that releases the pleasure neurotransmitter dopamine, which internet porn spurs in massive amounts, results in the buildup of the molecular switch protein called delta phos B, an ingredient common in most addiction. The second, it impairs memory and concentration. If you have watched a porn video and then you get a jerk, you will lose your concentration. Okay. The next is it numbs you to other pleasure of life and real sex in marriage called desensitization. You develop a tolerance and need for greater and greater simulation because real sex has become. The next is sensitization. Because your reward system has been hammered, you have an amped up attraction to porn that can tempt you to feel and talk even simple cues like seeing your computer monitor, your brain goes into autopilot and your reward circuit says, do it now. Uh, and then the next is it diminishes impulse control and willpower. The fight between clear thinking and temptation is heightened, and you have less willpower to say no. No, say no to pornography. Next is it increases sensitivity to stress. Even minor stress can lead to cravings and relapse because they activate power sensitized pathways. Next is it literally shrinks your brain. Study actually show that even moderate amount of porn can shrink gray matter in area associated with cognitive function related to our ability to focus. Porn user report pervasive brain fog. The next is it causes depression and low energy because it interferes with normal dopamine production and signaling. Next is you become more susceptible to risky behavior. Since porn addicts need a bigger and bigger hit, they gravitate to more degrading kinds of porn and risk behavior to get the hit with diminution fears of expressing negative consequence or is IA or getting caught. Okay, the next is erectile design function. Porn users become less sensitive to real sex with their suppose and need more and more stimulation to get aroused. As porn addicts report that porn creates significant sexual problems, especially ED. That's the bad news. The good news, however, is that because the brain is plastic, porn user can break free from porn and change their brains back to healthy feel of sex and sexuality with increased power. Men and women can find freedom from the devastating effect porn. Okay, here I will give you tips for your teens, for control your teens and kids. First, you must to secure the internet and then always keep your teens or kids. If your teen or kids playing a phone, playing a laptop, computer, and other that can to access to the internet, you must to behind, you must to beside him, and then always keep him from the site that can access to the porn. Okay, the next tips is you must always with your kids or teens. Here we have a question: why your kids or teens open the porn site? First, he's now from his or she now from him or her now from him or her friends or many that he know or he want to know what is this porn, and then uh, uh, many teens or kids that open the porn sites cause he want to know what it is of a porn, and then uh, okay, I have to tell you the damage of porn and tips to keep your kids or teens from porn. Now we have to explain what is pornography. Pornography is representation of sexual behavior in books, picture, status, motion pictures, and other media that is intended to cause sexual excitement. The distinction between pornography, liquid and contaminated material, and erotica, which is broadly tolerated, is largely subjective and reflects changing community standard. The word pornography derived from the Greek porni, or it's prostitutes, and graphene, it's to write, was originally defined as any work of art or literature depicting the life of prostitutes. Okay, there is the what is porn. What is the porn? Here, I will tell you one damage again of mobile phone is laziness. Okay, uh, what is laziness? Sometimes unused to rest passively is overwhelming. The most common reason for this is fetish as the fast pace of metropolitan. Here I will explain you uh, the damage of laziness. Uh, the first phase of metropolitan life requires people to push themselves to the limit on a daily basis. In such cases, there is nothing wrong with a wish to spend several calm hours doing nothing. However, there is a category of people whose entire lifestyle can be described by the slang pairs or coach potato. Described by the slang pairs Coach Potato mostly such people prefer to act as passive spectator of life, and though the masses do not consider laziness to be significant, makes dogs testing it mostly as a forgivable weakness. This personality trait can cause severe negative effect both on an individual and on his or her surroundings. A definition provided by Oxford Dictionary describes laziness as the quality of being unwilling to work or use energy, and unwillingness to work seems to evoke only one part of an individual life. Here or here carer having no intention to spend one's energy seems to have a negative impact in multiple areas. Laziness negatively affects an individual's relationships with their boss and or college. Due to certain behavioral standards that lazy people usually develop at work. In particular, lazy people tend to hand over their work to someone else, often because of knowing that other people are more responsible workers and will accomplish additional tasks anyway. Lazy people often procrastinate, justifying themselves by various reasons or getting distracted by less important and more enjoyable tasks. Besides, lethargic individuals develop a habit of complaining about their circumstance or to put themselves in a favorable light and so that they work harder than their college, but are undeveloped life path uh, 360 this as well as other behavioral patterns usually result in the loss of a job with the follow-up of anxiety, depression, and other physical disturbance. In this case, the situation is twice as worse for such a person as they may due to their indifference states to look for a new job, preferring to justify themselves and feel miserable, thus only aggravating their physiology problem. Another negative aspect of being lazy is connected to physical health. It is not a secret that lethargic people are physically less active than those who prefer to throw themselves into the span of life. Logically, idle people spend more time without movement, according to a recent study by Tel Aviv University. By inactive causes one's fat cells to switch already exist in the body to become larger. In other words, an inactive lifestyle not only contributes into an individual gaining extra weight, but also makes the situation with their already exciting fat cell worse for fit day. Moreover, the bad news is that the negative effects of leisure time spent in a non-constructive way cannot be negated by physical exercise. In other words, the damage dealt to one's body by hours spent into laziness is irreversible in its turn. Extra fat can result into obesity with all its ensuing health issues. Laziness can affect the entire life of an individual because they are unwilling to make an active effort in regard to the important parts of life. Lethargic people miss numerous opportunities that life offers them every day. So the person might think they are too tired to step off the comfort zone. They comfort themselves by promising to do it later or justifying themselves in any other way in faith. All these jokes and obstacles are an illusion of the talk and obstacle during the thousands of years of evolution. How human bodies and minds have become prepared for active performance. Human beings need new experience, physical activity, emotional charge, and discharging to function properly and to feel well. By being lethargic, a person denies themselves of this and excludes themselves from the course of life, which leads to mental stagnation and intellectual degradation. Laziness can be called one of the scourge of the modern world, so often seen simply as a forgivable weakness. It can have a number of a negative effect on a person. In terms of this consequence, it should be mentioned that laziness often leads to the worsening of one's relationship at work and decreased work performance, which can result into job loss, exercise stress, and physical disturbance. Also, laziness and static inactive lifestyle leads to universal health damage. Ultimately, laziness results in mental stagnation and intellectual degradation. Okay, there is a negative effect from the laziness, and then the next is uh, this damage of mobile phone too is stress. What is stress? Stress is the body's natural defense against predator and danger. It flushes the body with hormones to prepare system to evade or confront danger. This is known as the fight or flight mechanism. When we are faced with a challenge, Part of our response is physical. The body activates, resorts to protect us by preparing us either to stay and fight or to get away as fast as possible. The body produces large quantities of the chemical cortisol, adrenaline, and noradrenaline. This trigger an increased heart rate, retreat muscle performance, sweating, and alertness. All these features improve the ability to respond to a harsher or challenging situation. Factors of environment uh, that trigger this reaction are called stressors. Examples include noises, aggressive behavior, a spending car, scary moment in movie, or even going on a first date. The more stressor we experience, the more stress we tend to feel. Change to the body. Stress slows normal bodily function such as the digestive and immune system. All research can then be connected or rapid breathing, blood flow, alertness, and muscle use. The body change in the following ways during stress. First, blood pressure and pulse rate rise. Second is breathing is faster. Next is the digestive system slow down. Next is immune activity decrease. The muscle decrease. The next is the muscle become tense. The next is a heightened state of alertness preventive. This is the body change if you are stressed. Okay. How we react to difficult situations will affect how stress affects us and our health. A person who feels they do not have enough research to cope will be more likely to have a stronger reaction and one that can trigger health problems. Stressor affect individuals in different ways. Some experiences that are generally considered positive can lead to stress, such as having baby, going on a trip, moving to a nicer house, and being promoted. This is because they often involve a minor change, extra effort and responsibility, and a need for adaptation. They are also steps into the unknown. The person wonders if they will cope. A persistently negative response to challenge can have a detrimental effect on health and happiness. However, being aware of how you react to stressor can help reduce the negative feelings and effect of stress and to manage it more effectively. Okay, types. The API recognizes three different types of stress that require level of management. First is acute stress. This type of stress is short term and is the most common. Why the stress occurs? Acute stress is often caused by thinking about the pressure of events that have recently occurred or upcoming demands in the near future. For example, if you have recently been involved in an argument that has caused upset or have an upcoming deadline, you might feel stressed about this trigger. However, the stress will be reduced or removed on this result. It does not cause the same amount of damage as long-term. Chronic stress, short-term effects include tension, headaches, and upset stomach, as well as a moderate amount of distress. However, repeat instances of acute stress over a long period can become chronic and harmful. Okay, the next type of the stress is episodic acute stress. People who frequently experience acute stress or whose lives present frequent trigger of stress have episodic acute stress. A person with too many commitments and poor organization can find themselves displaying episodic stress symptoms. They include a tendency to be irritable and tense, and this irritability can affect relationship. Individuals that worry too much on a constant basis can also find themselves facing this type of stress. A type of stress can also lead to high blood pressure and heart disease. The last type of stress is chronic stress. This is the most harmful type of stress and runs away over a long period. Ongoing poverty in dysfunctional family or an unhappy marriage can cause chronic stress. Occurs when a person never sees an escape from the cause of stress and stops seeking solution. Sometimes it can be caused by a traumatic experience early in life. Chronic stress can continue unnatured as people can become used to it, unlike acute stress that is new and often is annual solution. Okay, maybe that's all from me. I have to explain all of the material. The first material is the definition, the history, the function, and the damage of mobile phone. Okay, maybe this is my presentation. Thank you for your nice attention for watching this video, this my presentation. Okay, maybe that's all for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.